ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यस्साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ वर्स् 182 जगद्यो निर्भवेदेशः प्रभवाप्ययकृत्वतः आविर्भावतिरोभावौ उत्पत्तिप्रलयौ मतौ. So Vidyaranya continues with the topic of Tat Padartha Vichara, Ishvara Vichara. Tat Padartha means here it is a direct meaning of Tat Pada. That is Ishvara. Even though Vedanta talks about a Tattvamasi in which one has to give up the direct meaning of this Ishvara, Tat Pada and as well as Tvam Pada, that will be done. That will be done in this chapter, Mahavakya Vichara. But initially we have already seen Tvampada, the direct meaning of a Tvampada. That is Jiva. And what are the contentions about Jiva? What other philosophers say about Jiva? We say Jiva is none other than Brahman, of course. And due to ignorance, etc., etc. But then other philosophers, like Jainas, what do they say about Jiva? What is the dimension, what is the nature of Jiva and everything. So then other philosophers. We discussed everything. So Tatpada Vichara, Tvampada Vichara is over. Then Tatpada Vichara is done right now, Ishvara Vichara. And that is actually as a part of Mahavakya Vichara only. Vichara means analysis. Vichara is a very technical word in a Vedanta. And that is analysis of the nature of a given thing. That's called Vichara. That is done through Shravanam. So in what we do in Shravanam is a Vichara, analysis of Mahavakya basically. But then analysis of Mahavakya involves analysis of both the Padas also. So we always say this is Mahavakya Vichara is done. And that's a part of Shravanam, and then definitely Shravanam involves, even though this Shravanam involves this kind of a thing, analysis of the nature of Jiva and Ishvara both. But then there definitely basically what Shastra wants to convey regarding Jiva and Ishvara. That's the main thing. And so all this is a part of Vichara, that is our, the 6 lingas, we have done that. Upakrama upasamharo abhyaso apurvata phalam arthavadopapatisya lingam tatparya nirnay. So definitely what is the tatparya of the Shastra regarding Jiva and Ishvara's Swarupa? That is called Vichara, and that is a part of Shravanam. Anyway, so this is here, right now we are doing Tatpadartha Vichara. And he makes use of various Upanishadic statements. First he established that Ishvara has 3 components. One is that medium, that is Maya, and then definitely the consciousness and the reflection, of course. These three things are there, and this is then, all the three put together is Ishvara. And then he talked about the Maya, Upadhi, that is reflecting medium, elaborately. And we have arrived at the nature of Maya is nothing but the Sadasat Vilakshanam. Sadasat Vilakshanam is which you can't say it as independently existing, which you can't say it is non-existent. So distinct from what is existent and non-existent. And that is seemingly existent. And we gave an example also of magic. Magic also is like that. What a magician does, what it shows to you, you experience, but really not there. But you can't say it is not there also, because you experience also. Well, if you experience, then it is really there. No, but it is not there. So this is how we have seen through magic. Example of magic. The whole creation is like this. Basis is Brahman is the Ishvara is the basis basically, and on which the whole names and forms created by this magician called Ishvara. This is a Srushti. That is called Srushti. So you can't say it is there. It is existent, you cannot say. Independent existence. It is not there. And therefore, then it is non-existent. You can't say, you experience. Perception proves the Jagat is there. So you can't say it is not there. So here also it is same thing, Sadasat Vilakshana. So what is Maya is this Jagat ultimately. Unmanifest condition of Jagat is this Maya. So Maya is basically, we have arrived at the nature of Maya as Sadasat Vilakshana. That is Mithya, seemingly existent. Jagat also is like that. Because ultimately Maya only manifests into this Jagat. Anyway, so one of the component of that Ishvara, that is Tatpadartha as such, direct meaning of Tatpada, well, definitely is Maya, and then we analyze the nature of Maya is like this. Anyway, and Ishvara is basically a master of the reflective medium called Maya, unlike Jiva. Jiva is a slave of a reflective medium called Avidya, ignorance. Ishvara is a master of the reflecting medium called Maya. And in support of that, Vidyaranya quoted Mandukya Upanishad 6th mantra. Esha Sarveshwaraha, Esha Sarvajnaha, Eshontaryami, Eshaha Sarvasya Yonihi, Prabhavapyayohi Bhutanam, etc. And so Ishvara is the one who is a inner controller of all the jivas. Through Maya everything has come. So since Maya, he is a controller of the Maya, master of a Maya, so he is a master of the Jagat. So whatever has manifested in the Jagat, that is Jiva and all that, well, ultimately he is a master of everything. So he is the inner controller of all the Jivas. We are seen as the inner controller of the entire universe, and inner controller of the Adhyatma, the Bhuta and the Deva, right? We have seen that. Anyway, after doing all this, so he discussed what is Sarveshwara, what is Sarvajna, what is Sarvantaryami. We discussed all this. Then he realized that this in a mantra, this Sarveshwara and Sarvantaryami both are there in a single line. Sarveshwara means Ishvara. And Antaryami also is there. But generally Antaryami means Ishvara. Actually that is a meaning. We can take it as synonym. But he says if you take it as synonym, then Upanishad will have a Punarukti dosha. Upanishad repeats. And we can't say that, well, Upanishad just repeats. Because Esha Sarveshwaraha, Esha Sarvajnaha, Eshontaryami. So Esha Antaryami, Esha Sarveshwaraha. And Sarveshwara means he is Ishvara. And Sarvasya Ishvara, Sarveshwara. So he is a Ishvara and he is Antaryami. But then Antaryami means Ishvara. Then why Upanishad repeats? So he found that let us find some difference between the two. So he devoted 2 verses for, to find a difference between the meaning of word Antaryami and word Sarveshwara or Ishvara. So he says we can't give the same meaning for both. And so to save Upanishad from this Punarukti dosha, Vidyaranya spans 2 verses now, and they are subtly different. First thing, in verse 181, he quoted 2 Shruti Vakyas, showing the difference between Antaryami and Ishvara. Etasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi Dyava prithivyo chandramasau vidrutau tishthatah etc. etc. in Akshara Brahmanam in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Etasya va aksharasya prashasane gargi. In the prashasana, in this rule of this, the Ishvara, well, everything is as though, everything is as though remain in its own position, etc., etc. That's all discussion there. And so that shows a Sarveshwaratvam. And then second line in 181, he says, Antaha pravishtaha shasta ayam jananam. Ayam shasta antah pravishtaha. Jananam antah pravishtaha. So he is the inner controller of everything. So he says this Shruti reveals Antaryamitvam. One Shruti, Brihadaranyaka, reveals Sarveshwaratvam, and second Shruti reveals, and I told you that is that Shruti. It's in Taittiriya, Taittiriya Aranyaka, it is there, in the 3rd chapter, etc. And so basically this all has been discussed. And then, and we have also found out a difference between these 2 words. So, Sarveshwara or Ishvara means who creates the universe and who creates all the laws, including law of karma, etc. Who creates the whole infrastructure. And then, this is the Sarveshwara. And then Antaryami is one who individually implements the law of karma, remaining behind every jiva. Remaining in every jiva, he controls jiva through law of karma. So, basically, this is, he is an Antaryami, inner controller, who resides in everyone. In Bhagavad Gita, it has been mentioned as a Adhiyajna. So, that is, word is used. Adhiyajna. Yajnanam adhikritya. So, basically, through law of karma, he controls every jiva. So, he governs through his laws. Laws are created by him, Sarveshwara. He implements the law and basically controls every jiva, then Antaryami. Anyway, and these 2 Shruti statements also he quoted, for the support. So he is a lawgiver, Sarveshwara. He is a law implementer, Antaryami. One is from macro drishti, from macro level. Other is from micro level. That's how we have to say. He creates everything, creates infrastructure, creates laws, including law of karma, everything. So from the samashti angle. And then every individual is controlled through that law of karma, which he already created. So at the micro level, at a vesti level, he is called Antaryami. So, and nothing wrong in using as a synonyms also. But since in Mandukya both the words appear in a single line, so he thought he should give a different meaning for that. Anyway, and then we discussed this Antaryami also from verse number 163 to 181. And then now we'll go back to the Mandukya Upanishad, because he has started discussing the mantra, right? Sarveshwara, the word Sarveshwara he explained, word Sarvagnya he explained, then Antaryami has been explained in 163 to 181, and so now the 4th attribute of Ishvara is there, which has been mentioned in the Mandukya, 6th mantra, and that is Sarvasya Yonihi. So Yonihi, Upadana Karanam. So that word is explained from verse number 182. Vidyaranya say, Eshaha Jagad Yonihi. Sarvasya Yonihi means Jagad Yonihi. Bhavet. So, this Ishvara, is a Upadana Karana of everything, of entire universe. Why he has to mention Upadana Karana? Because In Mandukya Upanishad, Esha Sarveshwaraha, Esha Sarvagnaha. It has been mentioned. He is a creator. Right? And Sarvagnaha is omniscient, omnipotent, etc. So, Nimitta Karanam has been mentioned. Then definitely, and that is accepted by all the religion. And not only Bhagwan is a maker, but material also, that we only say, other philosophers won't say. Nayayikas and Vaisheshikas and etc. They also say Bhagwan is a Nimitta Karanam. They call Tatastha Ishvara. Tatastha Ishvara means who is a Nimitta Karanam. Tatastha. Yes, so he remains away from the creation. He creates everything, but does not jump into the creation. Tatastha Ishvara, which is a Nimitta Karanam. Nimitta Karanam is always away from the creation. Like carpenter is away from the desk. He is a Nimitta Karanam. Sarva, he has a knowledge and he has power also. So, he is a Ishvara and he has a Jnanam also. So, he creates. But he is not a wood. Anyway, so, or a carpenter weaver, he is physically away. So, many religions conclude like this, that he is, safely away from the creation, because he is a creation means definitely so much of charges. He is a creation means what? You mean COVID-19 is a Ishvara? So, it's a huge problem. To avoid that problem, all philosophers, they say he is a Nimitta Karana. You cannot call him as a material cause. He is a creation, you should not say. He is a maker, he is all right. He is not a material. Anyway, and but we say, well, he is a maker and material both. So anyway, so Upadana Karanam has been mentioned as a Sarvasya Yonihi. He is a material of entire universe. And then only the Parokshatvam of Ishvara will go away. Otherwise, won't. If you say Nimitta Karana, means he is sitting somewhere and creating the world. So Ishvara is a Paroksha. That's how everyone points out the fingers up above in the seventh heaven, and this, that and these, and all this. So if you say Ishvara is a Nimitta Karana, means he is a Paroksha. He remains away. Parokshatva. When you say he is a material, also Pratyaksha. Yeah, Ishvara becomes a Pratyaksha when you say he is a material. And when you say he is a Upadana Karanam, is Pratyaksha, material. But when you say he is a Vivarta Upadana Karanam, he becomes a Paroksha. That's how it is. He becomes a Paroksha. Why? What is this? Yes, if you are telling something very great thing like that, you are making a show. No, I am not doing that. See, what happens is, Ishvara is basically a consciousness, Brahman, right? And then, well, he is a material, he is the material of this universe. But the universe is Jadam. Universe is inert. And therefore, as though Ishvara consciousness has turned to inert being, or what? You say he is a material of the universe. Material is always Jadam. And therefore, we say, no, don't worry. He is a Vivarta Upadana Karan. Without undergoing any change, right? He has become universe. And and therefore, consciousness is still consciousness. Brahman is Brahman. And therefore, it is a Paroksha. Paroksha means which is not a Pratyaksha, which is not a Paroksha also. It is in the form of Atma. Atma is a source of consciousness. And Brahman is consciousness. Therefore, Brahman is a Paroksha. Atma is a Paroksha. And Atma is a source of consciousness. Brahman is consciousness. Then, you are Brahman. You are a Paroksha. So, that Ishvara is a Paroksha, basically. But how it is possible? How it is possible? Without undergoing any change, he transforms into this. How it is possible? Oh, it is possible. Very easy. Easy to understand that. Well, basically, you undergo you create the entire dream universe without undergoing any change. What change has been brought into you by creating the whole dream world? No change at all. So that way, same way, you are a Vivarta Upadana Karanam for a dream world. Okay? And same way, after creating a dream and resolving, and when you come out, you don't find any change in yourself. Same way, you are a conscious being, creates the dream world which is inert without undergoing any change. Same way, Ishvara creates the entire this world which you are experiencing, okay, without undergoing any change. So consciousness remains consciousness. That's okay, but how it becomes aparoksha, immediate? Yeah, because Atma is a source of consciousness. And therefore, if Brahman consciousness without undergoing change transforms into Jagat, well, then that Brahman remains Brahman, consciousness. And Atma is also source of consciousness. Therefore, Atma is Brahman. And Atma means immediate. What is immediate to you is Atma. It is in the form of I. And therefore, I am Brahman. And therefore, so Ishvara is a Nimitta Karanam, Ishvara is Paroksha. Ishvara is a material, Pratyaksha. Whatever you see in the creation is Ishvara alone. Then it becomes Pratyaksha, because Jagat is Pratyaksha. And then Ishvara is basically Vivartopadana Karanam. Well, it is Aparoksha. Anyway, so basically whole creation originates from Brahman and resolves into Brahman. So Prabhavapyaya Kritvatah, Prabhava and Apyaya. Prabhava, origination. Apyaya, Laya, resolution. Kritvatah means he is responsible for this Prabhava and Apyaya. He is responsible for origination of the universe, and means from him only it comes, and Apyaya resolves also. Nimitt Karanam is Keval Utpatti Karanam. Upadana Karanam means Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karanam. Yeah. Because that is how it is. Nimitt Karanam means, well, Utpatti, creates. But Upadana Karanam means originates and resolves into that. That is basically a material only. So the part resolves into clay only. From clay it originates, and clay only in clay only it resolves. And therefore, well, clay we call it as a Upadana Karanam. Then question comes, well, what do you mean by this origination and resolution of Jagat, Prabhava and Apyaya? What do you mean by that? Because generally we feel that, well, nothing now, because science also says that is, well, nothing originates. So matter cannot originate, matter is all the time there. Okay. So matter was there, the whole material was there in Ishvara, in a form of unmanifest, Avyakta Rupa. So he does not create world, basically. It only manifests from him. But the whole creation was as though folded up in the Ishvara. And then, it unfolds. Ishvara unfolds it. So, opens up. So that is called Avirbhava. The whole Jagat which was there in Ishvara as unmanifest, that is the Maya. That only unfolds. Maya only gets unfolded. And resolution will be, then again it folds up. Then it becomes Maya. And unfolding Jagat. That's how it is going on. That is what Ishvara does. Unfolding and folding. Opens up and resolves. So manifesting which was unmanifest. And what is the destruction of this universe is, well, same thing. Resolution only. So like when candle burns, basically, nothing is lost. So the wax which was visible is converted into invisible energy. So that is how science also says matter, well, gets transformed into energy. And energy transforms into matter. So same thing, manifest, unmanifest. Energy means unmanifest, invisible. And matter which is visible. So Vyaktam, Vyakta, Vyaktam. They won't accept the third principle. Who does this job? Ishvara they will not accept. But this thing is going on, that's what they also will say. The whole creation, basically, in the manifest, continuously it is going on. Matter gets converted into energy, energy again transforms into matter, visible, unvisible, manifest, unmanifest, etc. It goes on. Anyway, so this conversion of visible universe into this invisible, well, form, well, we call it Tirobhava. Avirbhava means manifesting. Tirobhava, unmanifesting. So Avirbhava, Tirobhava, Utpatti Pralaya Umatau. This Utpatti Pralaya, origination of the universe and resolution of the universe is nothing but Avirbhava, unfolding of the universe, and Tirobhava means basically folding. Folding up becomes invisible, unmanifest. Matau, it is to be understood in this way only. Utpatti Pralaya of this universe should be understood in form of Avirbhava and Tirobhava. And this is what Bhagavan said also, I told you. Avyaktat Vyaktaya Sarvaha Prabhavanti Aharagame Ratragame Praliyante Tatraiva Bhakta Sanyake. Particular manifestation of may begin and may end also. Particular manifestation. And then, well, definitely, it an unmanifestation. That you can say, well, it begins and ends. But as a cycle of manifesting and unmanifesting, manifesting and unmanifesting, that cycle is beginningless. Could you follow what I am saying? Particular manifestation and then becoming unmanifest, you can say, well, it has begun. It has come to manifestation, means beginning, and well, results. So it ends. That you can say, beginning and end of a particular one, particular cycle. But as a cycle of manifesting and unmanifesting, that continues from beginningless time, and it will continue forever. Maya being there, right, all the time. Therefore, this job will be done all the time. Maya is non-separate from Brahman, and Maya is Anadi. Brahman is also Anadi. So basically, this Mithya Maya is there from beginningless time, and it will be there all the time. And therefore, this thing will be, this kind of a Avirbhava, Tirobhava will continue. As a cycle, it will continue. But particular cycle has a beginning and end. That's true. So it will continue eternally. That's how in chapter 15 also, well, Bhagavan said that na rupam asyeha tathopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampradesha na antaha na adihi sa na sampradesha, etc. So universe is basically eternal. It has only two states. Universe has two states: manifest, unmanifest. Unmanifest, Maya. Manifestation, Jagat. But then, well, then this will be there all the time. You are saying then Maya plus Brahman. How do you say, well, it is Advaitam? Well, this is there, but Maya is Mithya. What is Mithya can never be counted. It cannot be counted. What is Mithya is never counted. And therefore, ultimately it is, universe is Vyavaharically eternal. Maya also is Vyavaharikam, in unmanifest condition. From there the universe comes, which will be there like this in a form of a cycle. So empirically it is eternal, but well, basically it is Mithya. So it cannot be counted. So this non-duality, Brahman alone is there, that is true. Anyway, and some people say, well, some person said, well, if few jivas get Videha Mukti, and then definitely every cycle, and this is beginningless time. So then slowly all the jivas get Videha Mukti. Then this universe will be for what then? Yeah, there are few jivas, okay, and there are anadi jivas and there are infinite jivas, okay, and therefore world will continue for them. It is never like this. Even in this creation itself, how many people will know this, that I am Brahman, etc., and gain mukti, etc. People have this kind of worry also. If you talk about yourself, do you know Brahman? And you say, are you able to claim that I am free? No, I am not able. Then forget about other things. Okay. So universe will be there all the time. World will continue. And of course, paramarthically, in reality, it is not there. So question. This universe, since it is not there from paramarthik drishti, from reality standpoint, and therefore, we should not be counted along with the Brahman as another reality. Anyway, so this is how, this verse 182 has explained this Avirbhava, Tirobhava, etc. Now in verse 183. Avirbhavayati swasmin vilinam sakalam jagat pranikarma vashadeshah pato yadvat prasaritah. As such, in the previous verse, creation was defined as a manifestation and dissolution as unmanifest condition. But Vidyaranya feels that he himself has to explain this Avirbhava and Tirobhava. So now in verse 183 explains this Avirbhava, manifestation. So he says, Avirbhavayati, Ishvaraha Avirbhavayati. We have to supply word Ishvara because that is going on. So we will supply that subject here of this verb. Definitely verb, presupposes a subject. So Ishvara Avirbhavati, Ishvara throws out. So like this day in the Mundaka we have seen that Yatha Sudiptat Pavakad Vispulingaha Sahasrashah Prabhavante Tatha Aksharat Sambhavati Iha Vishwam. It came Tatha Aksharat from this Paramatma, well, Sambhavati Iha Vishwam Sambhavati. From this Ishvara, the whole creation has, was as though thrown out, like from that fire, the huge conflagration, the various sparks, they just emerge. Like that, all these names and forms they have just emerged from the Ishvara. Anyway, so that is how it says here, Avirbhavayati swasmin vilinam. And so it comes out, it throws out from, it manifests, whole universe manifests from Ishvara. And where was it? But swasmin vilinam, it was there in unmanifest condition in the Ishvara himself. So we can explain that. Like right now, the dream world which you are going to create in the night, the dream world which you are going to throw out in the sleep, where is it right now? Oh, it is within you, in the form of vasanas. It is right now there. So, definitely, swasmin vilinam jagat, swasmin vilinam sakalam jagat avirbhavayati. Swasmin, in himself only, the whole jagat is there in potential condition, in unmanifest condition, in a form of a maya, will be thrown out. So, avirbhavati, or throws out. The way dream world, which we will be throwing out in the deep sleep state, is right now there in us in a form of vasanas. That is potential condition. Right now I don't see your dream world, or you don't experience your dream world. So definitely even you also don't know what will be your dream, right? Right now you are not able to experience. But so it is there in a potential condition. Vilinam means avyaktam, in potential condition. And for that, ideal condition should be there. Yeah, right now it has not been, it has not manifested, but it will come out in a deep sleep state, because deep sleep state is basically a ideal condition for that. Once you doze off, it will come out. Anyway, same way, this whole creation has come out in a certain ideal condition. That condition we know very well. When jiva's karmas are ready, that's ideal condition. Karmas are ready to ripe, they are ripe enough. Well, then definitely, then this whole creation gets manifest. So avirbhavayati means vyakti karoti, basically it manifest. And vilinam here you have to understand as is a avyaktam, potential condition. Swasmin vilinam, the whole creation which was there in a potential condition in himself, in Ishvara, from there only it manifests. And they give an example also, yadvat pataha prasaritah, yadvat, just as a folded cloth is opened in a sari form, you know very well, in a sari shop, basically, what this shopkeeper or the other people, the employees, what they do is this, folding up of the saris and unfolding of the saris. That is how we become victim. Really, we means all women become victim. They will not buy the sari, I tell you, if the sari is totally folded. They will not buy. What they will do is, or what the shopkeeper will do is, they will unfold. And they will show the border, and then in some checks design and that, and the whole thing. they show like this. And looking at that itself, they decide, yeah, we'll buy it. That's it. Folding, unfolding is going on in the shopkeepers, I mean sari shop basically. Bhagwan is doing the same job, poor guy, you know. So basically, so I mean, even though shopkeeper may have a relative freedom whether to show it or not, if shopkeeper won't do, our women, they will do, always do. They will open. That's how when they go for buying the saris, the single woman won't go. 2-3 women together they go. So they will basically unfold whole thing and then they will ask, hey, how do you feel? Is it worth buying? Yeah. So wonderful. You see the border and this and that and this design and that's enough. So folding, unfolding, either done by a shopkeeper or the women themselves do or whatever. But then they buy. Ishvara also is keep on doing. It seems Ishvara does not have a freedom. That's what we discussed. This is how it is. The whole creation basically is God's will, laws of karma and creator and all that. But definitely his free will is not totally free. God's will also is not totally free. Okay? Jiva's free will is there. And that's how all karmas are there. So basically, even though he is a Sarvagnya, Sarvashaktiman, etc., he does not create the world as he likes, basically. So in all, the entire world is created as per Jiva's karma, including COVID-19. I have discussed that, I should not say again. But then, we should not blame Ishvara. It's all Jiva's karma only. Otherwise, if Ishvara would have to create, he would create all heaven only. All 14 worlds only, heaven and heaven. Nothing else. All gardens and all sprinkles and fountains and everything. Beautiful food. And because he is a Karuna Sagar. But he has to create all these jivas. Bacteria and viruses and whatnot. Dangerous. Certain bacteria are dangerous, viruses are dangerous, and something else also is there. Tiny creature. Very dangerous. Fungus. Black fungus. Horrible. Jiva's karma. So Ishvara does not have, even though his free will, he has employed and created all these laws of karma and creation and everything, but still Jiva's free will, I mean his karma has been taken into account. So that's how it has been. Prani karma vashat. It has he mentions prani karma vashat esha. Basically, taking it in keeping with the punya papa karma of the jiva, Bhagavan definitely creates this universe, unfolds whole thing. And when the karmas basically get exhausted, then definitely he folds. So both have a relative freedom, Jiva and Ishvara. If Ishvara has a relative freedom, then Ishvara also will be feeling a bound, right, Swamiji? Because he has a relative freedom. But Ishvara does not feel bound because of voluntary acceptance of a restraint. Then that is not a bondage. Okay? And therefore, but why voluntarily acceptance of a bondage? Because that's mithya. Yeah, in his eye, that is mithya. Whole creation is mithya, jiva is mithya, karmas are mithya, laws are mithya, everything is mithya for Ishvara. So when everything is mithya, then definitely he will not feel bondage. So that voluntary acceptance on the part of Ishvara of that such restraint is not a bondage. Any voluntary acceptance of a restraint is not bondage. Voluntary acceptance of a restraint of a food is not starvation, I told you. Yeah. Same way Jnani is also. Jnani don't feel any bondage. Even though he's undergoing pleasure, pain, so his ego is bound by the law of karma. But he does not say that, well, I am bound. Because ego is bound, he says. Ego is mithya for him. So wonderful, you see. Ishvara and Jnani both are same. Both are same. Both know that I am Brahman. And both have a ego. Both have a ego. Ishvara identifies through Maya the entire prapancha. Yeah, he has an ego. Mithya ego. Jnani also is same, I am Brahman. He has an ego. Yeah. But basically no one feels. Jnani is free in spite of limitations. Jnani says, I am limitless in spite of limitation. Think. Yeah. Ishvara says, I am limitless in spite of limitations. This is how it is. So voluntary acceptance, because mithya. Ego is mithya. Anyway, it's not bondage. And therefore, very jivatvam and ishvaratvam is mithya. Jivatvam, that ego is mithya. Ishvaratvam, ego, mithya. In Ishvara's ego means what? Maya Sabalam Brahma, Maya Upaita Chaitanyam, getting reflected in the Maya, ego. That's ego. So basically, both know I am Brahman. So anyway, so this is how they both have a relative freedom at the level of ego. But still, since that is mithya, they don't feel bondage. If they feel bondage, there is no jnana. If you feel bondage, there is no jnana. If you identified with a given thing, you feel bound. If you identify with the upadhi, it is mithya. If you are identifying with the upadhi, it is bondage. If you understand that upadhi is mithya, and therefore identifying with the mithya upadhi is a mithya, this ego is mithya, there is no bondage. That's how it is. At a level of ego, no one is free. At a level of Ishvara's ego also is not totally free. But he doesn't feel bound also. That's how it is. It's at the mithya level. Through Maya he identifies. He knows Maya is mithya. That's how, because Maya, Ishvara controls Maya, master of Maya. So through Maya he identifies with everything what manifests in the Maya, through Maya. All subtle world, he has an identification with the entire subtle world, called Hiranyagarbha. He identifies with the whole gross universe called Virat Purusha. Virat. He has a eye sense. Identifying with the gross world, subtle world, both at the manifest level. He identifies with the Maya, unmanifest. Karana. So, he has identification with the Maya, and at the same time, he knows that I am master of Maya, so Maya is mithya, etc. And therefore, he doesn't feel bound. So he accepts it is at the level of ego it is. So my will and Jiva's free will all combined together ultimately is responsible for the creation. Anyway, then the question was, when Bhagavan creates world well in keeping with the karma of the Jiva, you said free will. Then what is the basis of first creation? This is all, this question all the time. No single satsanga has gone without this question till today. All the time about first creation. Anyway, so previous srushtis, punya papas are not there. First creation means, well, Jiva has not done any karma. First creation. So then previous srushti is not there. Therefore, Jivas were not there. Previous Srushti itself was not there. Therefore, Jiva's karmas are not there. Then how he created first Srushti? First creation is on basis of what? So then we say don't say first creation at all. Okay? This is our answer. There is no first creation at all. Nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta. If there is a first creation, means it is a beginning. If Veda says that creation has really begun, we will say, yeah, there is a first creation. We say beginningless. There is no beginning. If there is no beginning, there is no first creation. That's how it is. This is how it is. The whole creation is like a show on a screen. It's just a show on a screen. What you see, all the names and forms and actor and actress and the swimming pool and the trees and what not, his bungalow and his car and everything is just screen. And you take it as real. What can I do sitting in an audience? You take the really he married to that person. He doesn't marry, he doesn't like that girl at all. Where is in reality? What to talk to you about that? If you take it as a real, is sitting in an audience, even the other people in the audience say you are fool. Don't cry. And even if you want to cry, cry it here in the hall. Don't worry. Once you come out, you rub your eyes. Yeah, I know you paid for that, for crying and getting now becoming light. It's good sometime to cry. Yeah, those who don't cry, their heart fails sometime. It's good. The whole show, what karma of an actor and what karma of an actress? What karma? Their situations and their progeny. What? What are you talking? If that is the first creation, creation is real. Forget about it. This they miss. Most of our people miss. We should not say outside. We all are Vedantins. And still we ask the same question. Learning Brahman Satyam Jagan Mithya. Jagan Mithya. Mithya Jagat, first creation. Think about it. Means there is a real creation. If there is a creation real, then where is Mithyatvam of Jagat? I said it is seemingly existing. Whole thing is seemingly existent. Sadasat Vilakshanam. But anyway, their karmas and their punya papas and they were not there before the first creation, and then they really, how the whole creation has come about and all. Anyway, there is no time when Bhagavan has to decide, that these kind of things are there, etc. So, anadis are accepted. Ishvara, Jiva, both, everything is anadi, karma is anadi. I told you, vasana is anadi, everything. And then avidya, chit, sanyoga also is anadi. Due to that, jiva is anadi. Everything is anadi. So, prani karma vashad eshaha, ishvaraha. Well, basically, avirbhavayati. Eshaha, here you have to say that ishvara. Ishvara avirbhavayati. Sakalam vilinam jagat. Swasmin vilinam jagat. Which is in the form of a maya, which is just a mithya, nothing else. Well, just unfolds. And prani karma vashad. It's a part of the show. Well, ultimately, he folds it back also. 184. Punastiro bhavayati swatmanyevakhilam jagate pranikarma kshaya vashad sankochita pato yatha. You can understand. So, avirbhavati has been explained. Avirbhava has been explained. Creation has been explained in verse 183. Verse 184, Tiro Bhavayati. So this creation dance which was going on goes on, and then Jiva takes varieties of the roles and varieties of the bodies, and ultimately Jiva says, enough. I have played so many roles, now I am retiring. Therefore, basically, after a few billion janmas of every Jiva, well, Bhagavan folds up. So, Ishvara Akhilam Jagat Tiro Bhavayati. Jagat Yonihi, basically. Ishvara, which is the cause of the entire universe. Akhilam Jagat Tiro Bhavayati. He makes the entire Jagat inexperienceable. Yeah. Tiro Bhavayati. It is not available for experience to any Jiva now. Why we say like this? Because, this world becomes inexperienceable because of two reasons. First is, this whole creation which is sthulam right now, says that results, that gets converted into its karanam. Sthula sukshma gets converted to karanam. And there once it becomes a Karana Prapancha, it becomes Indriya Gochara. Like a tree, whole tree, in a seed, not available for Indriya to perceive, right? So you cannot experience the tree in a seed, even if you break and try to see that. You break a egg and try to see the bird, etc., you won't see. So basically, the level of a Karana, potential condition, causal state, well, so it is not experienceable. So Ishvara basically folds it into a Karana Prapancha. The whole Jagat which you see right now, perceptible through senses, well, comes down into a causal form, Maya. That's the one. And second is Indriya themselves are folded, definitely. When creation is basically folded, the Indriyas also will be folded. As we can understand it very well, as it happens in a deep sleep state. So, right? So, in a deep sleep state, Indriyas are not available. So, then you don't experience anything. Same way, at the time of Pralaya, so, well, the same thing happens. The Indriyas, the subtle body and the gross body, both are resolved. And therefore, well, definitely you will not experience the causal state. So where does he keep this resolved universe? Well, according to Nayayikas, basically, world will resolve into Paramanu. I told you also before, right? There are all these 5 elements are there. Akasha basically has no Paramanus. Akasha is Nityam. So Akasha would be there. This Akasha would be there even in a Pralaya, in a causal condition. That would be there. They say like this. And other 4 elements will definitely break down. Right now, all gross elements what you see, they will break down ultimately to its causal condition called Paramanus. So Paramanus. So whole universe ultimately resolves into at a level of Paramanu. And all Paramanus will remain in Akasha. Akasha will be there at that time also. So all the Paramanus of other 4 elements other than Akasha, well, will be in the Paramanu form, and this Paramanus will be floating in that Akasha, in the causal state. That's how they say. Sankhyas and the Nayayika Vaisheshika says like that, and Sankhyas and Yoga philosophers, they say world will resolve into Prakriti, basically. Prakriti. So according to ultimately both philosophers, world resolves into something outside the God. See, we also say it resolves into Prakriti, means it is in the form of a Prakriti or Maya. But then Maya is non-separate from Brahman or Ishvara. And therefore, ultimately, creation is resolved into Ishvara. That's what we said, right? Swasmin vilinam jagat sakalam jagat avirbhavati. We saw also in verse 183. So, but Sankhya say this Prakriti is independent of Purusha. And therefore, whole creation resolves into Prakriti only. And Prakriti and Purusha are independent principles. It's not that Prakriti is non-separate from Purusha. So, for them, whole creation resolves into Prakriti, for Sankhyas and Yoga philosophers. Whereas we say whole creation resolves into Maya, or resolves in the form of a cause, that is Maya, and Maya is non-separate from Ishvara, and therefore whole creation resolves into Ishvara only, ultimately. That's what we say. Anyway, so other than us, even Nayayika Vaisheshika, who says that everything resolves into Paramanu, well, that is outside God. They never accept God as Upadan Karan. I have already told you. They say Ishvara is a Nimitta Karan. He creates out of Paramanus, but he is not a Paramanu. Yeah. So, for them also, the whole creation dissolves in outside God. And Sankhya philosophers say, well, creation dissolves into Prakriti, and Prakriti is independent of Purusha, and therefore, again, it is whole creation dissolves into Prakriti, means outside God. Anyway, but so far as Vedanta is there, well, we say whole creation goes back to Ishvara alone. Yatova imani bhutani jayante, that's how we define. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yene jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhisamvishanti tad brahma. And therefore whole creation resolves into. Brahma Sutra also defines Brahman like this only. First is Athato Brahma Jignasa, first sutra. One should know Brahman, etc., etc. But what is that Brahman? Kim tad Brahma? Oh, well, then it says Janmadhyasya yatah. Janmadhyasya yatah. Yatah. From whom the whole creation, Janma, etc. means the creation comes, which is sustained by that and which resolves into, that is Brahman, etc. So, ultimately, Vedanta is a bit different from all these other Astika philosophies, Sankhya, Yoga, Nayayika, Vaisheshika, etc. We say there is no Prakriti other than, outside Ishvara. Maya or Prakriti, which is non-separate from Ishvara. So these Nayayikas and Nayaka, Vaisheshika and Sankhya, Yoga, etc., they are all Achetana Karanavadi. We are Chetana Karanavadi. We say from Chetanam, that Ishvara alone the whole creation comes. They say either from Parmanu or from Prakriti, which is Acetanam. From there the creation comes. That is how they are different from us. So we say in Chetanam everything resolves. But then in Chetanam, how can everything resolve? Because what comes out is Jadam. Then how do you say that Jadam resolves into Chetanam? If everything comes out from Chetanam, everything should be Chetanam. Karan gunaha karya anuvartante. So if you make from a silk cloth a shirt, the shirt will be definitely having all the gunas of silk only. So how can you say the whole creation resolves into Chaitanya Ishvara? Because from there what comes out should be Chaitanya, but the creation is Jadam. So we also do regularly this. I told you the example also, that you create a world out of yourself and resolves into you. The whole creation which comes out of you, that you means this waker. Waker under the spell of ignorance, that is deep sleep state. You create the whole dream world which is Jadam. And it resolves into you the waker ultimately. And therefore it is possible. So from Chaitanya only this Jada creation comes out, because ultimately is a vivartam, right? Without undergoing a change, the whole creation, appears. Therefore, it is all right. Swatmani means into Ishvara himself it resolves. So, Punah Tiro Bhavayati Swatmani. Earlier it said Swasmin Vilinam Sakalam Jagat Avir Bhavayati. Now it says Swatmani Eva Punah Tiro Bhavayati. Punah, again, after manifesting and remaining for a length of time, the whole creation now resolves. Akhilam Jagat Swatmani Eva Tiro Bhavayati. Tiro Bhavayati. And Tiro Bhavayati means what? Folding up. Like what? Sankochita Patah. Earlier it said Prasarita Patah. Unfolded cloth, sari. Now Sankochita Patah. Like the sari is folded. And this shopkeeper has to do several times. Several people come and they have for every time they have to unfold and fold. Unfold and fold. All these things. Same way Ishvara also keep on doing this. Folding and unfolding of this sari called Jagat. All the time. But can Bhagavan determine time of resolution as he likes? No. Shopkeeper can decide. If he wants to close the shop, or if he wants to just fold the sari, he can decide. Because he can understand this customer is not going to buy. So let me not do any exercise further. So he may decide. Or he may even close the shop also and go. Oh, today it's going to be, there is a forecast of a rain, heavy rain, etc. There is a cyclone. Let me close the shop. He can decide. Ishvara cannot decide. This folding and unfolding should continue. Well, depending upon karmas of a prani, jiva. So says prani karma kshaya vashat. Well, because of a exhaustion of a current lot of a karma of all the jivas, well, then depending upon that he only folds back. How many times it happens? Well, avirbhava, tirobhava, it will continue. But how many times? So in verse 185 it says, we'll just read it. रात्रिग्रस्रौ सुक्तिबोधौ उन्मीलननिमीलने तुष्णीं भावमनोराज्ये इव सृष्टिलया विमौ. So same topic actually, which is from 182 to 189 is this, he's discussing this Mandukya Karika, that sixth mantra, Sarvasya Yoni, Jagat Karana. And now he says here, Avirbhava, Tirobhava, this folding, unfolding of the universe continues. For that he gives some example. Imau Srishti Layau, this creation and resolution is eternal cycle, eternal. So this cycle goes on and on and on. It's like, they say merry-go-round. That it goes on and on all the time. Only thing is you can jump it out. You can jump out of this cycle. You cannot, this cycle is not going to stop. You cannot stop the cycle. Only let others continue, but you can jump out. But anyway, he gives their example for that, for this Avirbhava, Tirobhava. The first example is Ratri Gasrau, day and night. Gas means to swallow. So Gasati or Gasti. Gasati first conjugation, Gasti second conjugation, means to swallow. So Ratri Gasrau. So daytime is a swallower. So daytime is called Gasraha. Gasraha means a swallower. Or he is a swallower of what? Swallower of darkness. So day is a swallower of the darkness. That's how day is called Gasraha. But why night is called Ratri? Because Rati Dadati. Iti Ratrihi. Rati Dadati. It gives. Ratri is called Ratri because it gives. Day is a swallower and night is a giver. Night gives what? So during night, if you remain awake, it will give you fear. Okay? And if in night, if you sleep, it gives you happiness. Okay? And therefore it gives. Sukham athva dukkham dadati iti ratrihi. Sukham athva dukkham. Dukkham is bhayam. Night, if you keep awake, I tell you, you will definitely feel fearful. And if you sleep happily, it gives you happiness, okay? So, Sukham Bhayam Rati Dadati iti, Radhatu is there in a second conjugation, means to give. So, Sukham Rati iti Ratrihi, if you sleep. Bhayam Rati iti Ratrihi, if you are awake. Anyway, so darkness gives fear if you are awake. Anyway, so just as day and night, is eternal cycle, same way this Avirbhava, Tirobhava, folding and unfolding of this Jagat Sari continues. It's an eternal cycle. This is one example. Second example, Supti Bodhau, waking and sleep, right? That also continues. Jagrat and Sushupti, same way. Third example, Unmila Nimilane, like movement of eyelids. That's called Milanam. Milanam means movement of eyelid. And if your movement is upward, it's called Unmilanam. If movement of eyelid is downward, it's called Nimilanam. And therefore, like opening and closing of the eyes, how it continues, eternally. I mean, eternally means in a given span of life, etc. It just continues. Same way this Avirbhava, Tirobhava of the world continues. So manifestation and manifestation. Manifestation and manifestation. The cycle is eternal. That's how in Lalita Sahasranama also it said, right? Unmesha nimishotpanna vipanna bhuvanavali. Well, Unmesha nimishotpanna vipanna bhuvanavali. Bhagavan is, Bhagavan's closing and opening of the eyes is this Srishti and Laya. Fourth example, Tushni Bhava Manorajye. Tushni Bhava. Tushni Bhava means quietude, silence. Manorajye means basically, thoughts, fancies basically. So it indicates a passive and active condition of the mind. Manorajya fancies or fantasies. Well, it is an active condition of the mind. And Tushni Bhava means a passive condition of the mind, silence, quietude. So that also goes on and on, right? Some mind becomes silent and then mind becomes active. and same way it continues. So these two are also eternally cyclic. During waking state, of course, during waking state. Same way, this Srushti, it says here, Srushti Laya, Imau Srushti Laya, this Srushti and Laya, this Avirbhava and Tirobhava of the world just continues. It from beginningless time and up to endless. It will all the time there. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.